Hi. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to be looking at some of the highlights for the OXP 2025, the Odoo event that we had, and just sharing some insights about what's new and what you need to look out for as far as that is concerned. My name is Enoch Maseru. I'm a business analyst with Odoo, and I've been working with Linux and Odoo and other open source software for over 10 years now. And I just want to share some highlights and my own thoughts about what's important and what's interesting for you to have a look at. So in the first video, we looked at the unveiling of Odoo 19 and some of the interesting things that come with Odoo 19. In this second video, I'll be looking at the second day where we had the keynote that focused specifically on the industries. Now, the industries module, these are modules that we've been having in Odoo for a while. The advantage with them, and I'm going to share a bit of a snippet from our CEO's keynote, but basically just to help you understand what the industry are, is that what we've done is that, okay, let's get this one up and running. So what we've done is that with industries, we've packaged our applications to be able to suit specific industries. And so then you can be able to simply jump in and get a set of applications that work well together to be able to fulfill the needs of a particular industry. So it saves you the process of having to think, okay, so I have a fast food, I have a furniture store, I need this application, sales and point of sale and this other. What we do is that we craft together a bunch of applications that we have. And so then you're able to very quickly get up and running with the applications configured according to best practice in terms of how you'd go about them. And in the next videos, we're going to be looking at a bit of that. But here, I want us to jump straight into the keynote and just get to understand a little bit about that. I'll also be covering something about the Ask Me Anything AMA session with Fabien that was there later in the day. I think there are a number of interesting things that were highlighted as well, specifically with Odoo's vision, especially to do with Kenya. So that should be very useful for those ones here in Nairobi, Kenya, the Kenya office, and other customers and partners here in Kenya. A little bit about what the vision for Odoo is and what you need to be able to sort of align yourself even as you're working with Odoo. We'll also look at Odoo in terms of the vision that in the next few years. And then I'll also highlight a few things about the keynote that was shared on the third day. This is concerning how to scale your your company, and a little bit about Odoo's company culture. So without much ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. So this first video, this is a short snippet from the keynote concerning industries. Let's have a listen to this.
Yes. So let me remind you what all Odoo is about. So for the past year, we have focused on building the best application. We had a focus per application. So we wanted to be the best CRM, the best website builder, the best e-commerce, the best inventory management system, the best accounting system. And we have been doing very good on all of these. So as a result, you can now pretty much replace every single one of these applications by Odoo. So you can easily replace QuickBooks by Odoo Accounting, and you're going to get something better. Or Notion by Knowledge, or you can have pretty much everything Shopify by Odoo e-commerce. So for every application, we get to the level where we are on top with a top player on the market. But we also have the advantage of integrating everything together. So now you have not only the best application for each category, but you also have the full integration with everything which is unique on this market. And the strength of Odoo has always been this, the value, but also the value for the money. So we succeeded to make it affordable. We succeeded to keep it at a very low price so that every small and mid-sized company can benefit from these high technologies in order to improve the way they operate. And it works. I mean, the numbers have been crazy. It really works. So let's have a look at some of the numbers. Last year, Odoo, our company, we were 4,300 employees. This year, we are 6,500. will be close to 10,000 in 1 year. Can you imagine the speed at which we grow? It's close to 50% growth per year. And if we look at the numbers as of August 2025, we are at 416 millions of annual recurring revenue versus 289 last year at the same date. So it's really growing like crazy, and it's showing the impact that you, the partners, the community have on what we are doing. Because that's just a small part of the big ecosystem, and this just translates into a lot of clients and users that you put in production. Let me say it again. We have, together with the partner network and Odoo, created 6,500 direct jobs at Odoo and 250,000 jobs, people working for the partners. I mean, small. And it's only the beginning. Growing at 50% per year, it's going to grow and grow and grow. So it's really good. And this amazing growth has been translated into employees and also in the partner network. So the partner network is also growing a lot, 35% growth over the past year. But more importantly, the partner themselves grew a lot. So all in all, it's more than 50% growth in terms of the resources working for partners. So it's huge, and as you can see, a few years. So in short, for 44% growth last year. In the partner network, we have today 11,000 partners in 189 countries. 3,000 customers. The only negative point is our cash position. That was 136 million euro on our bank account last year, which is only 100 at the August this month. But it's normal. It's part of our Q4. So it's perfectly aligned with our strategy to remain break-even in order to ensure the customer benefit from this extra value. And we have 16 million of users, over 170,000 customers. Let me say that again. 170,000 customers.
And I think he goes, and so this is just to be able to highlight some of the figures. And it's important for people who are considering to use Odoo, businesses that are considering, using Odoo, just to be able to understand that, Odoo isn't a new play in the market. It's not a business that's coming in, a solution that's coming in, and then tomorrow, you're wondering, you've invested a lot in this software. Are you going to get support? So this is really just to be able to help you get peace of mind, get that comfort feeling that this is a robust solution. We've been there in the market for quite a while, and you can definitely be able to trust, in our vision and in the product and the value that we provide. I think he goes ahead to compare the number of customers we had with some of the other players in the market. Let's see, that comparison.
So I'd like to thank you, the partners and the community, for this effort. And maybe you don't know exactly what it is. I mean, it's 170. I could have said 1 million. Nobody knows. It's like big numbers. We don't know if it's good or not. So let me show you how good that is. So if I go to the number 1 and number 2 other ERP after Odoo, let's go and say how many customers does NetSuite have? They have 43,000 customers. Can you imagine? It's not like we reached them. We exploded everything. How many customers does Microsoft Dynamics 365 have? They have 40,000 customers as of July 2024. So it's not like we have done something good. We have done something which is a game changer. And we can really be proud of that because we did it, and there is a big difference with them. Our customers are happy. And why it's important? It's not
Yeah, so this is, I think it's important. There's a lot of, marketing, and people know about Odoo now, in the Kenyan market. And I think events such as the OXP are very important for people to be able to get a little bit more insight about the company, be able to understand the product a little better, understand the people. And so those figures for me, I think, are very important. 6,500 employees with over 50% growth year on year. You have over 11,000 partners worldwide who are selling Odoo. And this is a very wide partner network. You have 170,000 customers, and the number is growing. And the comparison between the other players in the market, you can be able to see the difference. NetSuite about 43,000, Microsoft Dynamics about 40,000, vis-a-vis 170,000 with Odoo. So the numbers really speak for themselves. You can be able to see that this is a product that offers real value to customers and to the users. And over the next few days, the next few videos that I'll be doing, I'll actually be jumping right into the database and actually showing you how to use Odoo for your business, how to some tips and tricks around Odoo, the industries that we are talking about in this particular keynote. And Odoo 19 now ships with over 100 industries. These are over, if you go to our website here, you have the industries shown here, and these are not even all of them. You can see this is 1, 2, 3, 4, about 8 categories here, roughly 6 in each, so 48. So these are just about 48 industries, and that's not all the industries. If you go to browse all industries here, you actually then come and see all the industries that we're talking about. And I would encourage anyone to get started. If you've used Odoo before, go ahead and pick an industry, if you're a concert hall, a gallery, driving school, if you're a co-working space, a lot of those ones. You just jump into a particular industry, and you can be able to start. So the same way that you start with one app, and you can be able to test the CRM, the website, and whatnot, jumping into a particular industry already gathers for you the set of apps that are needed to support that industry, and you can be able to try it out, or even just go ahead and buy and just start using it. And we'll be jumping into this a lot more moving forward. So I think that's important. I think one of the things that really stood out for me is that this is really, the numbers really show what happens when you do software right. And it's the reason why I even started my previous videos just jumping into Linux and open source software to be able to understand where Odoo is coming from. When we're talking about Odoo's, started off as open source, and we had to pivot and change and become open core, where 80% of the product, Odoo as a product, is free, and 20% is what is, sort of like premium, that you pay for. And the 20% premium that we sell, the applications we sell, is really what sustains the 80%. And if you go through some of the talks that we talked about, especially to culture, and some of the other talks that Fabien has mentioned, he's talked about it numerous times in other interviews that he's done, talking about the journey of Odoo, the history, and how we got there. And so it's very important. And I like what he says, and I won't get into it here. You can be able to jump into this and just listen yourself. Is that he says doing good is a competitive advantage. Working on a product that offers real value to customers is a competitive advantage. And I really, really love that kind of value that we offer in our products. And you can be able to see that we get about 11,000 new clients per month. A lot of times, anyone who starts using Odoo definitely continues to use it. I mean, you get such good value for money that it's unbelievable. We don't actively go looking for clients. Our salespeople actually don't go hunting for clients. All the customers we get are actually inbound clients. And so the strategy, I think here he talks about our strategy and moving forward. So this one I would just allow us to jump into it later on. What I want to share is the Ask Me Anything session that came. This is still day 2. And this is an open session where people ask questions and Fabien simply just answers them. So there is a question here that was asked about the Kenyan office. The person asking the question asked in French, so I didn't really get the actual question. If you're a French speaker, you can be able to jump in a few minutes just before when I start playing this video, and you'll be able to understand what they asked. But what's most important is the vision that Odoo shared concerning Kenya and about Africa as well, or really about Odoo as a product. So have a listen to this.
What's the vision of Africa? Have you seen the events we organize in Africa? It's just crazy. So if I go to my event application, events, let's say Kenya. Oh, sorry, country. Kenya. Well, I don't have country. And the ones that are done, because the ones that will be in the future, we don't.
And one of the things I love, and you'll see this a lot in a lot of the sessions, that not just our CEO Fabien, but even in some of the business shows that we have, where we have our managing director Patrick Lukusa, again also wonderful, great leader and visionary. You can see that we use Odoo for our own operations. A lot of times you'll see Fabien actually jumping into our main software and just searching for reports and doing demos and showing people. In fact, even in this Ask Me Anything session previously, somebody asked a question about something and it would be useful to jump into this and just have a look at it. He actually gives an actual demonstration for how to be able to do some of the things that were mentioned. And I absolutely love that about Odoo and Fabien and our managing director. Like what's the word? Whatever it is that we say about Odoo, whatever it is that we say when we say that Odoo provides value, it's not marketing fluff. This is actually something that is real. We provide real demonstrations. It's not some crafted, branded marketing gimmick. No. When he wants to give sales figures and revenue figures, he actually jumps into the database that we use, and you can be able to see how the data is displayed. And this is something that's shown across. So I absolutely love this about Odoo. I think one of the things I definitely loved when I joined Odoo, just a little bit, to share a little bit from my own experience. I had been working with Odoo since about 2012. Like I mentioned, that's more than 10 years, actually close to around 12 or 13. So I had been working outside as a software, just playing around with it. I had worked with a company where, we developed Odoo, we offered Odoo solutions to other companies. And so it's only in the last 1 year that I now, joined Odoo as an employee. And I was pleasantly surprised to actually find that the culture that I had loved so much about Odoo as a product, that same culture was actually there, not just in Odoo globally as a company, but even in Odoo Kenya. To be able to have that culture translated from the main company and be able to be translated to the various offices around the world is no mean feat. And so I absolutely love that about Odoo. I think it's a great place to work. And the product, the people, the processes that we have is really phenomenal. So just continue listening to this.
We don't need. All right, the latest ones. So some we organize in Kenya. These are training sessions. So all the training sessions, we cap at 350 people. Because for a training above that, it's going to start to be complex. And you see that they are all full, 350, 350, 350. Sometimes we do 250, 350. And when we have a business show, let's try to have a business show, 2,000 attendees. 6,000 attendees is here. And this is every week, 350. And we have that in a lot of countries in Africa. So basically, Africa for Odoo is perfect for different reasons. First, Odoo is good as a low-cost player, and that's perfect for Africa. Second, we have a mindset of, in French, we would say bidouilleurs. How do we say? Hackers. in Africa, and so being open source is a real value for them. And because of that, there is a real attraction for Odoo in Africa. So we started with Kenya because we had to start somewhere, but everything is exploding. So probably next year, we still have to validate internally, but we will organize an Odoo Experience in Africa. Because there is so much demand that we have to do. We can justify an event like this in Africa. This event, just to give you an idea, costs 3.5 million euros. So for us, if we need some volume in order to justify that. Yeah, so we bet a lot on Africa, to make it short. Next question.
Yes, hi.
And I did Kenya here, but I could have picked a lot of different countries. It's the same. We do business show in Africa with 2,000 people. Even in India, we don't do that. So, yes, next question.
So I think the next question that I love the response was when Fabien was talking about the vision for Odoo, and I think that's very insightful. He's mentioned it in some of his previous interviews before, but I like the way that he breaks down the technology industry, the business software industry. And just sort of like giving his prediction about, what you can expect. The question really was about how do we intend to, how does he see Odoo in the next 5 years or so? And he gives a very interesting answer that his vision is simply for us to survive. And, it sounds half joking, but actually he's serious and he explains it. So just have a listen. Let me make sure that I have it correctly. Oh yeah, it was actually the immediate next question. So let's just continue listening for a few more minutes here.
For the next 5 years, do you have some visionary plans regarding the further future?
Yes, I have a very strong vision. It's to survive. And I should explain why I do that. In order to predict the future, you have to understand the past. And if you look at the past in the IT, it has always been the same. It started with the operating system, very low level, 20 years ago. Initially, there was a lot of operating system, MS-DOS, Dr. DOS, Unix, Minix, BOS, whatever. Fast forward today, there is only 3 operating systems remaining: Microsoft Windows, iOS, and Linux. And then, after the technical layers of the operating system, came the Office. There was a lot of Office before, for the old people in the room. Lotus 1, 2, 3, Works, WordPerfect, and so on, and so Microsoft Office, and so on, and so on. Fast forward today, it's only Microsoft Office and Google Workspace. So only 2 players. The thing that saved us is that business management software are more complex, because in addition to the technical layer, in addition to the user layer that Office have, you also have the business complexity. But the things will follow. At some point, the business software will become a commodity that everybody uses, and the best will have the whole market. Maybe not the best, but the first 1, 2, or 3. And so my vision is to be part of this 1, 2, or 3, which means surviving. And in conclusion, pretty sure we will do it. I don't know who will be the 2 others. Thank you.
Okay. And I mean, the rest of the interview is also really, really great, the presentation. So again, jump into that. Finally, we have the keynote that happened on Saturday. This is the 3rd day of the OXP. And again, wonderful. I like what happens with the keynote here, because in the first 2 days, we focus on Odoo, the features that are coming out. On the first day, it was AI. On the second day, it was industries. And I like the way on the 3rd day, it really focused on entrepreneurship and company culture, looking at the kind of success that Odoo has had over the years, since about 2002, about 20 years growing. And for the better part of those 20 years growing, the figures, the growth of about 50% year on year, both in terms of revenue, in terms of, customers, in terms of staff. Definitely a success by any standard. And I think that is, I think very much because of not just the product that has been built. Odoo the company is called Odoo. and the product is also called Odoo. I think the success is really in large part because of those two things, both the company and the product. The kind of culture that Odoo has built is one that is able to support that kind of growth. And I'm really, looking forward to the kind of growth that we're going to be experiencing in the next few years. So again, it's a bit of a long one, about 1.5 hours long. I won't go through everything. I'll simply highlight the first part. And, maybe over time I'll be breaking down some of the, insights that were shared. It's very, very insightful, video to watch. So again, just a few minutes and, feel free to jump into it. I'll share all of these links in the description of the video so you can be able to jump into them.
So it's not going to be about Odoo. It's going to be about how you can scale your business, learn how to grow. So I'm going to try to teach you in 1 hour everything I learned over the past 20 years. So I hope you're ready. It's not going to be easy. But before I start, I have to set my credibility, because you probably won't trust me when I will say a few things that will probably seem very crazy to you.
Yeah, and it is true. He's not kidding here. A lot of the insights that he'll share about Odoo and what we do, it's in a way very counterintuitive to what a lot of people would expect in business and even in a company such as Odoo, such a big company. But I can say for sure, as somebody who's been an outsider for longer, like I said, I've worked with Odoo for about 12 years, since version 6. I remember version 6 when we had the GTK desktop client. I remember version 7 coming out and moving entirely to the web version, I think 7 or 8. Version 9 coming out, which was really, really extraordinary. Had a lot of features, and then moving forward. To then now coming and working within Odoo, I can say for sure that a lot of the insights that he shares here that may sound, yes, like he says, crazy, with the kind of experience I've had, really does help you to give you that edge. And when he talks about, he has to lay out sort of like his credibility before he says what he shares. It's really the figures that had been shared previously. But I think it's important to remember that this is not a new player in the market who's been there 1 to 5 years. No. Odoo has been there in the market for close to 20 years, over 20 years. Our figures speak for themselves. We are worldwide. We have offices we have about 19 offices across the globe. And so I really think that businesses in Kenya, specifically because I have a passion for businesses in Kenya and Africa, I'd love to see businesses having the right tools and being able to grow, which is what I'm passionate about, and what I would want to be able to see, that businesses get the tools that they need. And software doesn't have to be expensive. I think a lot of times people look at the pricing that Odoo has, and I'll jump into the pricing right now very quickly. And when they compare the pricing to other, established ERP players in the market, they really have this idea that Odoo is affordable. Maybe some would even say cheap. And that then they feel that the price is a reflection of the value, the quality of the product. And I think this really is a very it's misinformed. The kind of value that Odoo offers, and I'll be showing that as we go along with the other videos and the demonstrations that I'll be giving. Really, it's because we believe that software doesn't have to be expensive. Remember, I said previously that one of the things that we are believing is that, one, software, Odoo decided to do software the right way. And also that doing good is a competitive advantage. Like, seriously, just developing good software, developing good business software that businesses can be able to use. And it doesn't have to be expensive, and it doesn't have to be clunky, and it doesn't have to be so complicated with vendor lock-in, to really squeeze out the most that you can be able to get. In the kind of environment that we are in here, where government tenders are overpriced unnecessarily, and there's a lot of a culture of where people believe that if there is something that needs to be bought or something that needs to be, implemented, somebody has to eat something here and there. And people really have become very skeptical about, businesses and whatnot. And in some cases, yes, with good reason. But I think the reason why I really love Odoo and Odoo really tracks well, even the kind of values that I hold, is that I think it's one of those products that's a very rare gem in the market. Excellent value, low price, and just a good product to work with. And the moment you buy Odoo, especially if you go with the online SaaS version, you get upgrades every year. And so really my aim, even with this particular YouTube channel, is really to be able to highlight the kind of, like I mentioned, the kind of opportunities that are available and the kind of value that Odoo has. And so let's get into it again. Let's hear it straight from Fabien. I think then we can be able to move on from there.
So first, I should show you that was the growth of Odoo over the past years. And as you can see, it worked. So we went from 1 to 6,500 employees today. And the revenue grew the same way because we are self-financed. But the thing is, when you look at the number, it's easy to see that it grows like that. But when you look at the number, it's actually a growth of close to 50% per year, year after year. So the result you have that is not like Odoo exploded at one time. It's just the result of every year, year after year, keeping a good execution, focus on the work in order to retain a 50+% growth.
And I think that's really important in the culture we're living in, where there's a lot of pressure to make it big and to get rich quick and to, be the next unicorn. I think it's really important to highlight that fact that Odoo did not just explode into the market and it was an overnight success. No. You can be able to see that Odoo began, and I don't know whether you caught it, and I'll just go back a little bit
the growth
to this particular slide.
And the revenue grew.
You can see that in 2002, we had 1 employee. 2005, we had 3. 2007, that's when we had 10+ employees. So that's 5 years with just less than 10 employees. So coming to the place where we are right now, 2005 with 6,500 employees, you can be able to see that, yes, it is hyper growth, but it wasn't an overnight success. There was a lot of work that was put in to be able to get us to here. And I think it's a very important point to consider with a product like Odoo and a company like Odoo, even for young people and for the kind of environment that we're in, where there is a lot of pressure to cut corners, a lot of pressure to make it, a lot of pressure to be successful. And I think it's a good reminder for us to not chase success, but to chase significance, to actually chase providing real value, providing a useful product and a useful service to the market, refining the product year in, year out, and then getting to where we are right now. Really very, very important.
Grew the same way because we are it's easy to see that it grows like that, but when you look at the number, it's actually a growth of close to 50% per year, year after year. So the result you have that is not like Odoo exploded at one time. It's just the result of every year, year after year, keeping a good execution, focus on the work in order to retain a 50+% growth. The average growth over the past 20 years is actually 66%. And because of that, we created a company where we only funded 10 million euros, 3 million in 2010 and 7 million in 2014, for a valuation today of 7 billion euros. So we can say we build value. And I believe... but I think you should applaud yourself, because it's also part and due to most of you in the room. I mean, we are here because our partner succeeded. Odoo succeed only because their partner succeed. For us, we get richer if the partner gets richer, so I'd like to thank you too. All right, that was probably my last slide about Odoo, so now let's talk about leadership, management, and company culture. So when you see the numbers...
Okay, yeah, and so from here then, goes into a lot of the insights that he's been able to garner over those years. And again, wonderful keynote. I mean, compressing all that he has learned within about 1 hour is, and I think he even rushed, very quickly towards the end. But again, a useful one to be able to jump into, just to be able to see some of the insights that we have. It takes a lot of time. It's okay to take time if you improve every year. So wonderful insights for businesses. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Think for the long term. Again, very strategic. Let's see. He talks about how we did it. It's all about execution. Just sometimes you just need to keep your head down, do the work, focus on the product, be patient. And, we really believe that the best product always wins. And he goes into a lot of that. Nothing matters more than the product. Oh yeah, he says quite interesting thing here about CEOs and just how much time they need to be spending on the product and on the company rather than being outside there playing golf with other CEOs and networking. So again, jump into that, get to understand. I mean, he really delivers it very well. So talk about the pricing here and, just kind of like the struggle to be able to get to where we are, how to get the right product market fit. So very useful. I mean, I can't go ahead. There's no point of going through this. Just jump into this. I'll share the links in the description. So here he comes and talks about the business model. I've kind of hinted about it. Odoo is open source. 80% of the product is open source. 20% is what is enterprise and that we pay for. And the commitment that we have in keeping that model that way. And again, I'll be, just jumping in and showing you exactly what we mean. Maybe just to understand that, if you go to Odoo community versus enterprise, you'll be able to jump in, and I think this is useful. If you know a little bit about Odoo, you've heard that there's a free version, there's an enterprise version. I think, he breaks this one down very, very well. But just to give you an understanding, if you come to this page, you'll be able to see all the features that are available. So you can see that 80%, the core of Odoo is open source, it's free. You can be able to download it, install it, use it for free. Then 20% of the features is what you pay for, what we sell. So you can see that we give some of the extra services. Unlimited support. You get unlimited support from us. You get version upgrades year on year as we release new versions. If you're on the enterprise version, then you get those updates for free. If you're on the community version, you have to do it yourself. Hosting, again, you have to host yourself. If you're using the community version, it is free. You can download, install it, but you do have to either install it on your own local machine or set up a server online or otherwise and install it. But with Odoo Enterprise, then you don't have to worry about hosting, uptimes, backups, security. All that is taken care of. All you need is your browser and you can access the software. And so you can go ahead and check some of the other applications here. You can see which features are available on the free version, which ones are available on the enterprise version. And right from this page, you can actually just go ahead and download it. And you can be able to download whichever version you would want, either for Windows, Ubuntu, or any other version that you would want. And you can see you can download even older versions. It's still possible. And that would be that. So I think with that, I'll stop it. I will stop it there. Do jump into this for more insights about Odoo. I think from here, what I will want to focus on moving forward now that the OXP has been launched is I'll be jumping into Odoo itself, helping you to understand more about Odoo. You know, how do I get started with Odoo? I think that's one of the first things that I really would want people to understand. So you've heard about Odoo, you are running your own business, or you're thinking of providing it as a solution to other businesses. How do I get started? That, I think, is one of the first videos that I'll be doing. So do stay tuned, and I would be happy to be able to share some of those insights. Again, if you're interested in finding out more about Odoo, please reach out to me in the comments. You can also email me on eclick254@gmail.com, and I would be happy to be able to reach out. But if you want, reach out to Odoo directly. Go to our website, go to our contact us page, get a phone call. Our sales people, our marketing people would be happy to get in touch with you and give you more information. And as I mentioned, I'm a business analyst. If you do buy a success pack, I do look forward to working with you to ensure that we implement Odoo for your business the right way. So with that, God bless you and see you in the next one.